Welcome to this explainer. You know, today we're completely flipping the script on growing older. So often, we just assume aging equals an inevitable decline, right? Like it's just a time of restriction. But what if we looked at aging kind of like building a new house? A place where literally every single brick, wire, and room is intentionally designed not just to keep us safe, but to help us actively thrive. Our goal today is to give you a comprehensive guide to empowered, holistic aging. We're moving way past just surviving and focusing on active, engaged living.
So here's the big question. What does it truly take to thrive and not just survive in our own homes as we age? To figure this out, we're going to use what we can call the hierarchy of holistic care. It really is just like building a house from the ground up. I mean, you wouldn't put the roof on before you pour the foundation, right? So we'll build our metaphorical home, starting with the absolute foundation of physical safety. Then we'll wire in the electricity of advanced technology, bridge everything with social connections, and finally top it all off with the warmth of spiritual purpose.
All right, let's dive into this. The core concept we're looking at today is a gerontology term known as aging in place. Basically, this is the ability of older adults to live safely, independently, and comfortably in their own homes, supported by environmental adaptations and smart tech. Notice the language there. It's empowering. We're ditching those old, tired terms that paint older individuals as helpless or as a burden. Instead, it's all about autonomy and smart environmental design.
Here's our roadmap for today. First up, physical architecture. Second, AI and smart home tech. Third, social engagement and robotics. And finally, spiritual support and purpose.
Okay, Part 1, Physical Architecture, the Foundation of Independence.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the sheer precision required to make a space truly accessible. It's definitely not just about, slapping a handrail on a wall and calling it a day. According to accessibility standards, toilet seat heights literally must be between 43 and 48 centimeters from the floor. Why those exact numbers? Well, as muscle mass and joint flexibility naturally decrease, just sitting and standing takes immense effort. By nailing that height and adding movable grab bars that give enough transfer space for a wheelchair or walker, we are instantly giving someone their privacy and independence right back.
Let's zoom out and look at the whole bathroom layout, because, as you probably know, this is where the most frequent home accidents happen. Check out this blueprint. You see that continuous step-free shower floor? That's absolutely crucial. There should be zero threshold to trip over. But here is the really brilliant life-saving detail. Those emergency call buttons. You can't just stick them at waist height. They need to be installed at 110 centimeters, sure, but also just 10 centimeters from the floor. If a fall actually happens, that bottom button suddenly becomes the single most important thing in the entire house.
And this incredible attention to millimeter-level adjustments continues right into daily personal hygiene routines. Think about it. For an older adult using a wheelchair, a standard sink is pretty much useless. Accessible sinks demand a very specific 20.5 centimeter knee clearance underneath. Plus, the mirrors, they shouldn't just be bolted flat against the wall. They need to be angled downwards at about 10 to 15 degrees. Now, these might sound like tiny little design quirks, but they are literally the difference between needing a caregiver to help wash your face and being able to do it entirely on your own.
Moving into the kitchen, the exact same principles apply. These spaces have to be designed with adequate turning radiuses for wheelchairs, which usually means you need at least 150 centimeters of clear space between the counters. Pair that with slip-resistant flooring, both wet and dry, by the way, and you've got a rock-solid, safe foundation. So now that our physical foundation is poured and our home is secure, let's wire it up and move to the next layer.
Part 2, AI and smart home tech, the electricity of care.
We are literally in the middle of a massive shift right now. The old model was entirely passive care, just waiting for an emergency to happen and then reacting. But this empowering new paradigm, it's the AI-assisted smart home. We're talking about voice-controlled lighting that stops nighttime stumbles before they happen, digital platforms that offer daily cognitive training to actively maintain brain health, and motion sensors that actually learn a person's routine and send early warnings if something seems a bit off. It's like an invisible safety net that also keeps the mind actively engaged.
But here is the absolutely crucial point. Technology is not here to replace human care. You simply cannot automate empathy. Instead, AI and smart tools are there to empower independent living and take the heavy, routine lifting off the shoulders of human caregivers. By letting the tech handle the day-to-day tasks and monitoring, caregivers suddenly have way more energy to provide what really matters: actual emotional support and true human connection.
Part 3, Social Engagement and Robotics, Bridging the Gap.
Take a look at this striking piece of data from a study done at Suleiman Demirel University. They looked at 354 elderly individuals living at home, and what they found was a direct, very positive correlation between the conscious, safe use of social media and significantly higher life satisfaction. It turns out, when older adults are empowered with the digital literacy to navigate the internet safely, it stops being this big, isolating force. Instead, it transforms into a vital, open window to their family, their friends, and the wider world.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how far we've actually come. Meet Paro. I know, it looks like a cute, plush seal, but it's actually an incredibly advanced, assistive social robot. Studies consistently show that interacting with Paro provides genuine emotional comfort, stimulates cognitive function, and actively reduces agitation, which is huge in dementia care. Now, does it replace a human nurse? No way. But it beautifully bridges the emotional gap, offering a real sense of companionship and structured interaction when a human caregiver can't be right there in the room.
Part 4. Spiritual Support and Purpose. The Warmth of a Home.
So at this stage, we have to recognize something really important. Physical safety and high-tech gadgets are practically meaningless if a person doesn't have a sense of purpose. As we age, a lot of people face this heavy psychological toll known as meaning loss, especially after retiring from a lifelong career or losing close friends. The research is super clear here. Spiritual support and staying actively engaged in lifelong learning are the ultimate buffers against depression. Maintaining that sense of meaning is honestly just as critical to a long, good life as a perfectly designed bathroom layout.
So what does this actually look like in everyday practice? For families and caregivers, the actionable steps are profound but surprisingly simple. First, encourage storytelling. Actively, genuinely listen to an elder's memories without jumping in or interrupting. Help facilitate their participation in cultural or religious routines that can anchor their week. And definitely promote lifelong learning. That could be a short, engaging online course or just picking up a new hobby. Just validating someone's life experience by simply listening to them, that is one of the most powerful forms of care we could ever offer.
Let's pull all of this together and look at the whole house we've built today. The empowered aging process is essentially a three-step journey. Step 1. Secure the physical environment to promote safe, autonomous movement. Step 2. Integrate those supportive AI and smart tools to build an invisible safety net. And Step 3, actively foster social, emotional, and spiritual connections to keep purpose and joy alive. When you bring all these elements together, you transform a standard house into an absolute engine for active aging.
I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought. As we look at the future of aging, whether it's for our loved ones right now or eventually for ourselves, we really have to ask, are we building homes and systems just to protect the elderly, basically wrapping them in bubble wrap? Or are we intentionally designing environments that inspire them to actively and joyfully live? By combining smart physical design, ethical AI, and deep human connection, we can absolutely choose the latter. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope you leave today feeling inspired to rethink how we build the homes of our future.